The revolutionary power of softness. Why rest is your birthright. Have you ever noticed how we glorify exhaustion in our culture? We wear our burnout like badges of honor. I'll sleep when I'm dead, we say. No days off, we post. We celebrate the grind so much that we've forgotten what we're even grinding for. I recently had the profound privilege of interviewing Ivana Watson, whose wisdom has fundamentally shifted how I understand strength, vulnerability, and what it truly means to succeed. Ivana is nothing short of a revolutionary in her field, a beacon of light illuminating new pathways for Black women professionals who have been carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders for far too long. Her groundbreaking work challenges centuries of conditioning and offers liberation through what many have been taught to view as weakness, softness. Think about it. When was the last time you felt completely free to rest without explanation, to be vulnerable without apology, to prioritize your peace without guilt? For too many of us, especially Black women, the answer is never. We've been conditioned to believe that our worth is measured by our productivity, that our value is determined by how much we can endure, that our strength is defined by our capacity to suffer silently. But what if everything we've been taught about strength is wrong? What if softness isn't weakness, but freedom? What if you don't have to break to be worthy of rest? What if community, not isolation, is the true foundation of sustainable success? These are the questions Ivana Watson's work invites us to explore. And the answers, they're transforming lives in ways that ripple far beyond individual healing. They're reshaping entire systems. Let me tell you about Erica Reeves. Between 2019 and 2024, Erica's startup consistently outperformed male led companies on ROI metrics. The numbers spoke for themselves, clear, undeniable evidence of excellence. Yet in venture capital meeting after venture capital meeting, she faced the same skepticism, the same dismissal, the same bias masked as concerns about scalability. After one particularly frustrating rejection, where an investor actually told her, "Your numbers are impressive, but we're looking for someone who fits our vision of a founder." Something profound shifted for Erica. She realized she was playing a game designed for her to lose. So she stopped seeking approval and started building alliances. Erica created a network of women founders who pooled resources, shared connections, and launched their own pitch competitions. They bypassed traditional gatekeepers entirely. The result? Not only did Erica secure the funding she needed, but she created pathways for dozens of other women entrepreneurs who face similar barriers. "I spent years trying to prove I was exceptional enough to deserve a seat at their table," Erica says. "Now I realize we can build our own tables, and they're often more innovative, more inclusive, and more profitable." There's something deliciously ironic about this, isn't there? The very systems that rejected these women for not being aggressive enough or competitive enough are now being outperformed by communities built on collaboration, mutual support, and, yes, softness. Erica's story illustrates something profound that Ivana Watson emphasizes. Choosing community over isolation empowers us to claim our worth without needing permission or proof through struggle. We don't have to earn our place through exceptional suffering. We can create spaces where our humanity is recognized from the start. But building community requires vulnerability. And vulnerability, that's something many of us have been taught to avoid at all costs. This brings me to Monifa Johnson, whose journey redefines what leadership can look like. For years, Monifa embodied what she calls performing survival, projecting unshakable confidence while privately drowning in anxiety and exhaustion. She never let her team see her sweat, never admitted uncertainty, never asked for help. The result was predictable: catastrophic burnout. But what happened next wasn't. Instead of pushing through or hiding away, Monifa did something radical. She told the truth. She gathered her team and acknowledged her struggles. She admitted she didn't have all the answers. She asked for support. I was terrified, Monifa recalls. I thought showing vulnerability would undermine my authority. Instead, it transformed our entire organization. By modeling authenticity, Monifa created psychological safety that unleashed creativity and collaboration. Team members began sharing ideas they previously kept hidden. They took innovative risks. They supported each other through challenges instead of competing or hiding failures. Most importantly, they built something sustainable, not just a business that could weather market fluctuations, but a community that could nurture human beings through life's inevitable ups and downs. My greatest leadership breakthrough, Monifa says, wasn't learning to be tougher. It was learning that my softness, my empathy, my openness, my willingness to be seen in my full humanity wasn't a liability. It was my greatest asset. This is what Ivana Watson means when she says, softness is not your flaw, it's your freedom. When we embrace vulnerability, we free ourselves from the exhausting performance of perfection. We create space for authentic connection. We discover strengths we never knew we had. But here's the challenge: how do we embrace softness in a world that still rewards hardness? How do we prioritize rest in systems designed to extract maximum productivity? How do we build community and cultures that celebrate individual achievement? Janet Pascal's groundbreaking research offers some answers. For years, Janet has documented how Black women entrepreneurs achieve success not through isolated hustle, but through collective legacy building. Her findings challenge the dominant narrative of entrepreneurship as a solitary hero's journey. Instead, she reveals how the most transformative innovations emerge from communities of practice, networks of support where knowledge is shared, burdens are distributed, and success is measured collectively rather than competitively. The myth of the lone genius entrepreneur isn't just inaccurate, Janet explains. It's actively harmful. It erased the communal contributions behind every breakthrough. It perpetuates cycles of burnout, and it reinforces systems that marginalize the very voices we most need to hear. Janet's research has sparked crucial conversations about how we define and measure success. What if, instead of glorifying individual achievement at any cost, we valued sustainable growth that lifts entire communities? What if, instead of celebrating those who sacrifice everything for success, we honored those who model balance, wholeness, and care? What if rest wasn't something we had to earn, but something we recognize as our birthright? This is the radical vision Ivana Watson invites us to embrace: a vision where softness is strength, where vulnerability is courage, where community is power. It's a vision that challenges everything we've been taught about what it means to be successful, to be worthy, to be enough. And it begins with a simple but revolutionary act: giving ourselves permission to rest. Not someday, not when we've accomplished enough or proven enough or suffered enough. Today, right now. Because here's the truth that Ivana Watson's work illuminates so powerfully: you don't have to break to be seen. You don't have to earn peace through pain. You are already enough, just as you are. Let that sink in for a moment. You are already enough. What might change if you truly believe that? How might you move through the world differently? What boundaries might you set? What joy might you claim? What rest might you allow yourself? These aren't abstract questions, they're invitations to transformation. Because when we embrace our softness, we don't just change our own lives, we change the systems we inhabit. We model new possibilities for those around us. We create ripples that become waves. So I challenge you today. Dare to be soft in a world that demands hardness. Dare to rest in a culture that glorifies exhaustion. Dare to build community in systems designed for isolation. This isn't just about self care, it's about collective liberation. It's about creating new ways of being, working, and thriving together. Start small if you need to. Put down one piece of emotional armor this week. Ask for help before you reach exhaustion. Build one honest connection instead of performing perfectionism. And remember what Ivana Watson teaches us: your softness is not something to overcome, it's something to embrace. Your need for rest is not a weakness to hide, it's a wisdom to honor. Your desire for community is not a dependency to transcend, it's a strength to cultivate. The revolution begins not with grand gestures, but with radical self acceptance, not with fighting harder, but with surrendering to your own humanity, not with proving your worth, but with recognizing it was never in question. So go forth and be gloriously, unapologetically soft. Rest without explanation. Build communities that heal rather than harm. And know that in doing so, you're not just changing your life, you're changing the world. Because true revolution doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, "You are enough. You deserve rest." Your softness is your power, and it always has been.